Baby, line goes where the islands go. Baby, line where the islands go. Baby, line where the islands go. Baby, You ain't built for a skirt as a nigga can be. It's gonna sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming for ya. It's gonna sound like when I'm coming, like when I'm coming, like when I come for ya. It's gonna sound like yeah, here comes the, yeah, here comes the, yeah, here comes the, yeah, here comes the. Y'all don't really work like that.
Good morning, AO Southwest. My name is Paul Vasallo, your Director of Leadership Development. We are coming to you live from the Phoenix studio this morning. We are happy to be back in action after our 1-week hiatus to get ready for Cabo. But we are able to deliver something that we've never delivered to you all before, a message that we have not seen or been able to yet, but thankfully, our crew here, Marcus and the rest of the team, were able to deliver something that you guys are going to be wanting to take extra notes on today for this message. The podcast is going to run a little bit longer today because we have 4 of our top leaders that got together in Cabo to deliver this message for you all. And so it is going to be a little bit extended today, but it's going to be something that you're going to definitely want to have your pen and paper ready for. Today is one of those days that you're going to probably want to watch this call 2, 3, 4 times, just simply because the amount of content and the amount of what they were able to deliver for you, you can't catch it all in just one. And so with that being said, what you want to make sure you're going to be doing is watching this, taking notes, and preparing yourself, because as we continue to bring this content to you live, you're going to be able to take this away for many different scenarios and how to approach your business in the future. So we've got a couple of things we want to talk to you about. The Takeaway Tuesday is catching steam right now. We're going to be announcing your winner here soon. Make sure you read the description in the bottom of the YouTube channel link there of how to post your takeaway on your Instagram feed live in video format after the call is done for next week's winner. But we want to take a second to talk about Cabo. Cabo was such an amazing experience, and for all of you that it was your first time, you guys understand exactly why we tell you to fight so hard for it, because of the people that you get to be around, the company that we keep. And for all of you that it was your second, third, fourth trip, whatever the case may be, you understand why you want to continue to be fighting for these trips. And so with that being said, we're going to deliver the the content for you guys to continue to win at a high level. And so why Cabo was so important is because you went out as an agency last year and you delivered on Agency of the Year again. And back-to-back years, 2017, 2018, and it's not easy to win any championship, let alone back-to-back titles. And so it was very special for all of us that were there to be able to accept that award on the behalf of all the hard work that you all are doing. Now, with that being said, as we were taking the award and up on stage, we were taking a photo with second and third place, and Melinda Ray Lisi and Mark Nielsen were there in my ear, and they said, yeah, well, we're coming for you guys next year. I said, great, challenge is accepted. And so we want you to know that although it's a great thing of what happened in 2017, even better to follow it up with better results and winning again in 2018. But understand that people are coming for that top spot. But I know you guys are up for the challenge, and so we're excited to see what a three-peat looks like after 2019. And so we're going to actually jump right into it today, because the content that we have for you today is a little bit longer, like we discussed. So we want to make sure that we give that the focus, but there are some performances from last week that we make sure that we want to highlight every single week and do the recognition for all of you, because you are out there in the field fighting like crazy to make sure that you guys are executing Opportunity Unlimited. And so we're actually going to start with the referrals, the referral collected. And Jesse Holland up top with first place, tied with Ramsey Holler at 64 referrals collected. And so again, real quick, you see the green in parentheses on the side. That is the amount of points associated to the position that you are finishing each week for your productivity score and your consistency score. So Jesse Holland and Ramsey Holler, congratulations coming in and finishing up another big week with 64 referrals collected. And Naeem finishing out, wrapping up the podium in third place, in third place. Now, referral presentations. We have a tie at the top with 11 referral presentations. Double-digit referral presentations is what we're talking about to go out and execute Opportunity Unlimited at its highest. We have Gabriel Serrano, Nick Kong, and Jesse Holland, all with double-digit referral presentations. So congratulations, team. Great job last week. And then lastly, we're going to finish with the ALP, another life protected. You see, just to get on the board at 10th place at 3,600 in premium, but we're going to talk about the top spots. Deidre Sherman came out and blew the roof off last week and put over 10,700 on the board to round out first place. But Kingsley and Jesse coming in second and third with 6,000, a little over 6,000 for Kingsley, excuse me, and a little under 6,000 at 5,700 for Jesse Holland there at third place. Great job, team. Way to keep up the Opportunity Unlimited and focus on protecting more families. And so this week's productivity score, Jessie had 2 weeks back-to-back in a row with a perfect 30, so she is still rounding up the top spot at number 20, or at 27 for a productivity score, with Naeem and Nick coming in second and third place with 18 and 16 points respectively. But the bigness of the productivity score is what the consistency score will look like. Now remember, this is our 6-week run in the consistency score, so you're going to take the total points over the last 6 weeks and you're going to divide it by 6. And so that's where you see Lamar Smith coming in at third place, and he is fresh out the gates within his first 2 months. So Lamar, congratulations. Keep fighting for that top spot with the activity at 10.43 on your consistency score. Larry Potluck, Mr. Consistency, you're actually going to hear from him here in a little bit on the call today, but coming in at second place with 15.43 on the consistency score over the last 6 weeks. Larry, you're doing great things out there in Chicago. And number one again, 3 weeks in a row, Jesse Holland. We know people are fighting for that number one spot, Jesse, but keep doing what you're doing. 21 points a week over the last 6 weeks, Jesse. That is amazing. Congratulations. Keep up the good work and go out there and continue to focus on referrals and protecting more families. And so we are going to actually go right into the contest winner for the 2 weeks ago's Takeaway Tuesday. Max Schober had the best Takeaway Tuesday video on his Instagram. And so we're going to go ahead and play this video of what Max's top takeaway was from 2 weeks ago.
What's going on, you gorgeous human beings? I was listening to this podcast earlier by Paul Vassallo and Dustin Wienekamp, and the number one takeaway on this Tuesday is that the future is in your hands. You are in control of it, but you need certainty. Certainty is powerful.
Max, again, congratulations on the winning the Takeaway Tuesday. We're so excited for you to be able to get your one-on-one direct time with your coach, Dustin Wienekamp, to start to build out your business plan and take your business to the next level. And so for next week, we're going to have another great winner or contest. So go out there and post your best takeaway after this call, because there are going to be so many takeaways to take from the top leaders that you're going to hear from here shortly. So make sure that you tag the agency, you tag the speakers, and make sure that you post yourself doing a video on your Instagram feed, and so you can be seen in your video featured next week as the winner for next week's contest winner. So we're going to get right into it. Like we said, it's going to run a little bit longer today, but that's because there was so much content, we did not want to cut anything out. This was specifically designed for all of you that are up and coming in the business to learn from. And regardless of if you're up and coming or you've been here for years, there is so much content here. We did not want to cut anything out. We wanted to give it to you all live on one video, so then that way you guys could make sure you get every single piece of information that these leaders delivered for you. So get your pens and paper ready, and let's go. Here it is. Good morning, AO Southwest. How are you guys all doing? We are coming to you live, not from the Phoenix studio this week. We are coming to you live from Cabo San Lucas with the beautiful backdrop here at the Fiesta Americana Hotel. And we have some of the four of the top leaders in our agency with you here today. And what is so special about this is they could be laying by the beach, they could be laying by the pool right now, but they decided to come help you guys dive into where your mindset needs to be, because we're going to cover all sorts of topics today of how to help you guys go from where you are today as the newest agent, newest supervising agent in the company, to being one of the top RGAs, MGAs, and leaders and personal producers that we have. And so we are so excited to bring this to you for the first time in this capacity. We have the four people here. I'm going to introduce them briefly, but they are going to go ahead and introduce themselves. We have Justin Herman, Trace Johnson, Jenny Rosales, and Larry Potluck all here today to pour into you guys. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves now and go ahead and get to know them each individually a little bit more. So Justin, please.
Awesome. Yeah, we are so grateful to be here. Couldn't pick a better place to be doing this right now.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm an RGA out of the Dallas office. I just recently relocated there. Started out in the Phoenix office about 2 years ago. I think it's actually my 2-year anniversary this week.
Congratulations.
Cool.
That's a good way to spend it.
And from the Phoenix office, we always saw a Tempe office happening. We moved to the Tempe office. And then more recently, back in October, we took that leap and we jumped over to Dallas. And we're extremely excited to be there.
Well, we're happy to have you, Justin. Trace?
Awesome, you guys. My name is Trace Johnson. Again, I'm out of Dallas, Texas. I'm a brand new MGA in the office. I started out in Phoenix as well with Justin and the rest of the Dream Team. And just like Justin said, you know, we started out in Phoenix and we always saw Tempe. We helped open that up, and then we got the opportunity to, you know, come open Dallas. We're extremely grateful to be here and help anyone in any way we possibly can.
My name is Jenny Rosales. I work out of the El Paso, Texas office. I've been with the company since 2015, and prior to that, I guess I was just existing before that, you know, to be honest. And but I'm really excited to be here and learn from the new guys, the new talent, and just soak it all up. So.
Well, we're excited to have you, Jenny.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Paul.
Larry.
My name is Larry Patlock. I'm from the Chicago office. I'm currently an SA over there. Been with the company for about 10 months now, coming up to a year soon. Before that, I was in school doing some door-to-door sales, so I'm excited to be here, extremely grateful too.
Well, thank you all for being here today. So I'm gonna just go ahead and kind of get to know every one of you guys a little bit further for everyone that's watching the calls, because the whole purpose, like we talk about every single week, is to develop your mindset, how to continue to grow every single day to not only be where you are today, but where you want to be. And so for all of you guys, your stories are going to be very powerful, very impactful for someone on this call. And so that's the purpose of today. And so, Justin, if you will, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself. You went to Arizona State, correct?
Yes.
We won't hold that against you because, of course, I'm a Wildcat. But you went to Arizona State and you studied construction management?
Yes.
Okay, and so what was the plan with construction management, when you were going through school? What was the vision? What was your 5-year dream at that point?
Yeah, well, it didn't start with construction management. That wasn't my dream from the start. I do have family members that had provided in my younger years through construction. So I knew it was a way that, I could go through school and there was something in place for me after I graduated. Because I started in the business school, and the business school, it's awesome. I think when we go to college, we get excited.
Yep.
I know myself, I was going to play hockey. Now, I went to hockey, not to ASU on the hockey play, not originally. It originally started in, I was coming out of high school, I was going to go to North Dakota, I was going to play, and an injury took place.
Okay.
In which it threw a little damper on the plans there. So rerouted, went to work all summer so that I could fund playing hockey at ASU, and then went through ASU for a year, and I kind of felt like I was wasting time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
In which I was sitting in lectures with 1,000 people in the lecture, and they were telling us about business and how to manage, like stores, and I just never saw myself managing a store, or I always saw myself doing something bigger. So I hit growth mode there after freshman year, and I took a step back. I kind of looked at my life, and construction seemed to be the most promising path. So I took a step back there, and from there went on through serving tables to pay my way through school. To my junior year, then took a leap into interning. I put my application out there. I applied a bunch of different places. I was trying to get that job. You got to pay the bills,
yes,
for one,
of course,
and you got to learn, and then you got to go to school too. And then on top of that, I decided to join a fraternity too, because I'm always trying to do something. I don't feel good when I'm just sitting still.
Good.
I always got to be doing something. So had a lot on the plate there, and fortunately enough, right when I got that internship, my stepdad decided to open a company.
Good.
I was fortunate enough to start out of his house with him and his daughter, and we kind of got a construction company off the ground. So for 2 years, I went from superintendent assistant to, by the end of that summer, running jobs, to estimating during the school year, to becoming a project manager. And you face some adversity when you're quickly, growing, and you're taking on these new roles. And there's people that are 40, 50 years old running these jobs, and you're supposed to be in charge of that. So that's a tough place to be. Definitely faced some adversity and had to take into account, new leadership strategies, and game plan a lot with my stepdad, and figure out, what the plan was. However, what I felt was best for that company was for me to go build big stuff. And that's kind of where my construction career maxed out. Was I decided to go apply again for the big companies and see where I could go with the career, so that one day I could potentially go back and help that company move to the next step. Things are always progressing in the industry, and being fresh out of school, I felt like I could learn a lot from those other companies. But
and sorry to cut you off, but you've been with, you said now AIL 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And so what led to your stepfather's company growing, right, exponentially?
Mm-hmm.
What led to you saying, I'm going to have to try to change paths from the family company, not just any company, right, the family business, to then now come into a brand new venture that you see some of the success from some of your friends and all of that, but completely uncharted waters, right?
Yeah.
You didn't study insurance?
Didn't study insurance.
Okay.
No.
So what was the mindset there of, I'm going to now, something that I know I'm comfortable with, I went to school for, and obviously the family's having a lot of success. to then come this direction to American Income. Where was your head at, and why was the appeal there for you at that time?
Yeah, I just feel like we're products of the experiences in which we've experienced through our lives.
Of course.
And there's moments in our lives that kind of define our future. We got a point in which we can go this way, we can go that way, and it's exciting to look back on life and just kind of see, I made this decision here, which led me to this, which led me to this, and that's why I'm backtracking to where I started with that. So,
Yeah.
it was a series of decisions there, and when I did graduate, when I did take that next step there came a moment where I was on break. I was in between graduation and moving to that construction company, and I had sat down with Trace and with David and with Dustin, and I was at a point in my life where I was kind of in a tough place with relationships at that time. I was looking into other things to also earn an income, because as far as I'm concerned, I grew myself through hockey, I grew myself through switching majors, through this deal to go to this next step, and I just wanted to continue to grow. I wanted to make sure that my 20s, I really set myself up so that my future family down the road wouldn't have to endure, me putting in, 80-hour work weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So when David and Dustin, when I compared Dustin's life for one to anyone that I knew in the construction industry, they didn't match up. So that intrigued me from the start. I trusted Trace. We'd been roommates in college. With everything that he was saying, he told me that there was leads, which was, I didn't know that in any type of sales position you could have leads. So that was amazing. He told me that there was union relationships in which people endorsed our program.
And referrals, right?
And referrals, yeah. And that there was no limit to what you could do, that there was residual income, and that intrigued me. Like, I was in for an interview within an hour, yeah. So it was crazy, and I was in for an interview, met Dustin, sat with David. David's one of the most entrepreneurial mindseted people I had ever met. We were friends before this business, and things just made a lot of sense. And then to add to that, we had some meetings with Eugene, and I just got really excited. It was business, then it was construction, which I loved. It was a place for me to grow, but I don't know if I was passionate about it.
Yeah.
And I had this fire inside of me with the business, and I was excited about it. And so, I didn't pass my test right away. I interviewed on a Monday, and on a Friday I took my test, so I studied for 3 days. So
That was
I was
great.
really excited. Yeah.
Childlike enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't pass. So then I was working this other job, so I had to wait another 4 weeks before I could get a Saturday test. Meanwhile, I'm working, 70-hour work weeks, trying to get paid for 40, trying to get this other job off the ground. And then, working with my girlfriend, and still trying to make some time for her, because family and girlfriends, that's important too. So happened to be that sorority date party popped up the day before my test, and I decided to go, and it resulted in me being at the Starbucks studying at 6 a.m. for my 12 o'clock test, and still striking out. I got a 68.
Okay. Right there.
I got a 16 the first time.
68.
My first time.
Such a bummer when you see that pop up. And then from there, I wasn't done. I was gonna get through this. Took my test again. It was another 4 weeks. So from interview, it was about a 3-month process probably until I started getting rolling with things. And
So you passed it the third time?
I did pass it.
Okay, my man. Okay, so you
Yes.
passed it the third time.
Passed
Good.
it the third time with a 71.
71. Perfect score.
Yeah. And you'd think I'd do better too, because I just come out of a semester of college where I had to do 21 credits. So, the test is not easy, but we get through it, and we don't have to remember most of that information, which is exciting.
Good.
So, got through that. Next step was David had a huge month, and some other people. There was a lot of excitement around the office. Dustin Dunbar actually rode out in the field with him once while I was still working the other job, and he showed me how to make $1,000 in a day.
Very important.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
I got to meet Dustin one-on-one, spend some time with him. And David made a substantial income. He actually doubled what I was making with my construction job that month that I passed my test. And that
was that eye-opening for you?
That was very eye-opening because everything I had saw made so much sense that, you know, I was under the impression that I was already putting in so many hours with this construction job on salary that if I just applied that same effort to this, I was going to get paid for all the hours I worked.
Yeah.
Because I had an interesting conversation with my dad, who's a business owner, and before I switched, he told me, he goes, well, you seem to be really passionate about this. He goes, what are you thinking? He goes, well, if you don't do your job, what you're doing right now, what happens? You don't get paid. And he goes, it sounds like everything that they're telling you, if you just do and follow the systems that they put in place, it sounds like you're going to be more successful. So that next week, he told me not to quit my day job, for one. My stepdad told me not to quit my day job. They just kept pounding that into me, but they know I just operate on what I feel is best. I'm going to do.
Instincts.
Everything happens for a reason, right? I couldn't believe that I was even in the position that I was in with insurance. So
Absolutely.
I was about to start procurement on my second hospital job, and I had to make a decision. I had just passed my test. I just started studying my script, and with procurement, you get a job, you get a hospital remodel going, and you're kind of the man. You know everything that's going on. So it would have been really selfish for me to prolong giving them notice.
Yeah.
When 3 weeks later, I was the guy that was going and picking up plans from the city and working to get this job off the ground. So I was walking back from lunch with my project manager, and I broke the news to him. And for a second, he kind of freaked out. He's like, "Are you serious?" And by the time we got back to the office, because we had the hospital here, then we had the office over here.
Yeah.
And by the time we got back to the office doors, before we walked in, he goes, "Man," he's like, "respect." It's like, holy cow, it takes a lot to commit like that.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, now you got to talk to Lee. You got to talk to our project executive too." So, kind of gave me a pat on the shoulder.
So you had to go all the way up the line.
Yeah. So I had to quit 3 times in one day.
Well, but now fast forward, 2 years?
2 years.
You're an RGA. You
Yes.
just promoted this young man here to MGA. Now, congratulations, Trace.
Thank you.
And so,
Take over.
Justin, what I heard there's so much from that your personal story that can resonate with people, because so much I think of life, we have these moments of uncertainty, right? Especially when
All the time.
faced with what you said here, product of our experiences that we have. I think that's so valuable, because when we're going through life, sometimes we're like, man, there's this fork. What way do we go?
Yes.
Right? But you, what it sounds like, you've just facing with hard work and determination, and I'm a firm believer with hard work and determination, you can figure a lot of things out in life, right?
Yeah.
And so you also touched on a couple of things. Childlike enthusiasm. I think childlike enthusiasm in our business goes a very, very long way. You talk to our coach Dustin Viennekamp or Eugene Garcia or anyone like that. Being excitable is such a contagious trait that people have. People want to follow people like that. But then also you said follow the system in place. And now when you look at your story, even though it's 2 short years in hindsight, man, you open up Tempe with the dream team, then you open up Dallas. I mean, can you imagine, 2 years ago being like, hey, I'm going to open up 2 offices in a year and a half and face all of these challenges? And then you said something very powerful too. Adversity comes when you grow quickly. Do we know a little bit about that?
Yes.
The last couple of years, the last year, when the agency has expanded, tremendously, we've faced challenges like that as well. And so, Justin, thank you. I mean, any last words with that?
Yeah. To touch on that, everyone's scared of failing.
Yeah.
Like, that's just in all of us. What's so amazing about our business is we have leadership that's so certain in where they're going that it just paves the way for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would have came into this and I was just on myself and I was in my own self-doubt and, I was trying to pick myself up every day and go through the motions. We all have bad days sometimes, right?
Yes.
We got to leave our problems at the door, stay positive all the time. But,
Absolutely.
in reality, we all have tough days. And with the leadership that we have and the vision that's in place, it's just, you know where you're going.
Correct.
And when you have that growth mentality, when you're always working to grow, and then you got help from a leadership standpoint like we do, it's tough to fail.
I would say it's impossible,
It's
right?
impossible,
I mean,
yeah.
with the leadership that we have, and certainty is so powerful,
It is.
right?
It's everything.
Absolutely. And so thank you, Justin. We're going to come back to all of that here in a second, but Trace, we want to touch on your story a little bit there, Stud. So, Trace, you just accepted your MGA promotion, so congratulations from all of us. We'd love to be the first to congratulate you on that. That's a huge accomplishment, but I know the story's not done for you.
No.
MGA is the first of many steps to
Yes.
RGA and VP of Sales for yourself and potentially partner. But Trace, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background prior to? You were in sales a little bit, correct?
A little bit, yeah.
And so, what did that look like? If you could speak up for everybody, please.
Yeah, so it all kind of starts before sales of how I was getting into it. I feel like I relate to a lot of people when they're really really good at something, but you got to stop at some point. I was always competitive with sports, and I played competitive football my entire life and competitive sports as a whole. And I had a couple opportunities to play, Division I, Division II football out of high school, but it just didn't pan out. I didn't have the grades. I was never really good at school, so you got to take a plan B. So I took the junior college route. That's really political. And you were blessed as an athlete to play the game that we both love longer than I was able to. And I ended up getting cut from the football team at Scottsdale Community College. And at that point I was just kind of like, what's next?
Yeah.
Like football is all I knew. Football is all I was really really good at.
Yep.
In my eyes and maybe a couple others. But I had to make a decision of what was next for me. And I always knew that I wanted to do something big.
Absolutely.
I had big dreams, big goals, big aspirations. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. I just didn't have a vehicle. And I just knew, I can't speak for everyone, but I just knew school, it wasn't going to get there for me. I continued to go to school as, I did it, because it's what you had to do. You went to school, you got to get your degree. I knew I was going to do it until I found, a way out.
Correct.
And I continued serving tables. I lived with Justin. We worked at a couple of the same restaurants. I did other stuff. Like I could name from one end to the other of stuff I've done. As far as jobs go to support myself while I was going to school. And long story short, I ended up getting recruited to, go to Chicago to do door-to-door sales for a summer.
Okay.
And I was selling, pest control, residential pest control. And it was nothing I had ever done before. So it was really uncomfortable for me. And that's it was scary. I'd never even lived outside of Arizona. Nonetheless,
So you go to Chicago for a summer.
Okay. I do door-to-door sales, made a little bit of money, not nearly as much as I'd expected to make.
Yeah.
But I'm really grateful I did it because, it didn't work out for me. It's nothing I ever want to do again. But I appreciate the lesson it taught me.
Yeah.
Because of the performance-based income. It really opened my eyes to know what is possible.
Yeah.
To when you work the hours, you're going to get paid what you're worth. And then I came back. I kept going to school for a little while, and I ended up kind of recruiting myself into American Income. I have really good friends with David, and before American Income Life, and I saw him studying for this test, and I knew he wasn't going to school, so I asked him what he was studying for. I was really intrigued by it. And I ended up sitting down with Dustin. And, when you get in front of Dustin Wienekamp, he has a vision bigger than anything.
You can wrap your mind around.
I didn't even know what insurance was. I didn't know how you got paid. I didn't know what you did. But you speak with Dustin, and it's holy cow.
You become certain that it's possible.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I'm sitting in front of him, I'm like, wow, this is something I definitely need to do. And him not even knowing me, but knowing a little bit about me gave me so much, confidence. Yeah, exactly. That's the right word to put it. Confidence, empowerment. Just able. I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a way out from going to school, from doing what I don't want to do the rest of my life, and that's what I decided to do. And it wasn't a short road.
Yeah.
Just like Justin, only 2 more times. I took the test 5 times. wasn't easy.
So you're on the five test
I'm on
train
the five.
too?
I'm on the
Okay.
5 test train.
There you go.
After that, I like thought about quitting, like every single time. I was like, maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, maybe I can't do this. Like, school is not I'm not good at studying. I'm not good at taking tests. And I was like, I have to do this. I see people making money. I was like, there's definitely something I can do. And, I passed it my 5th time, ended up hitting the ground running. Justin passed the test before me, ended up recruiting him into the business. I believe things are meant to work a certain way.
Sure.
I think Justin passed the test before me, even though I introduced him to the business. I think it worked out because, we've been each other's right-hand man, this entire time.
From the beginning?
From the beginning.
Yeah.
And, doing this together, feeding off each other
yeah.
in the most positive way possible. And, I think that's a huge part of why we were able to, do so much.
Correct.
As far as, taking over new opportunities.
Well, you said so much there because there's so many things that other people at certain points they potentially would have walked away, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you hire someone in the business, but they get past the licensing portion before you. I mean, that's huge, right?
Yeah.
That's a big event, and so for you to stick it out and be humble enough, right, and be coachable to the fact that Justin is your MGA, right, and
yeah.
that he just promoted you MGA, but for you to not have that mindset of, you know what, screw that, I hired him, and so that speaks so much to the humbleness that you have in the mindset, right, to be coachable to the system, because when you do talk to someone like Dustin and he just says, look, Trace, it'll work itself out, just do X, Y, and Z. To be certain in that and to trust in the process speaks so much about you and your character. But you said something about when you work the hours, you get paid what you're worth here. But you learned that before, you just didn't find the right vehicle for you to be able to take advantage of it. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's so important. We're going to come back to that because there's so much there. But Trace, thank you for your story and what you've told us so far. But we're going to move on to Miss Jenny Rosales from El Paso. For all of you that don't know Jenny, she is one of the most humble, sweetest, powerful, dynamic leaders we have, because one of the biggest things that, for all of you that haven't been in the office in Tempe or in Phoenix, and you guys are now getting to understand this because you were plugged in for so long, but now you're having to go recreate the energy, right? It's very, I don't want to say easy, that's the wrong word, but it's easy to plug into the power source and be like, man, I'm jacked up and ready to go, right? But Jenny, for you to be in El Paso and for you to have the experience the first quarter that you had, we want to just say we're so proud of you and everything that you guys are doing out there, because we know it's a challenge, and being able to get the momentum that you guys are experiencing right now in El Paso is absolutely amazing. So we're so excited to hear from you. But Jenny, why don't you tell us a little bit about your story and what you were doing prior to AIL and having all the success that you're having now?
Well, I appreciate what you said, but before I was at AIL, I also was running a business with my father-in-law.
Okay.
We did that for 8 years. I went to the University of Texas at El Paso. I thought I was going to teach, and I have not taught in a classroom.
But now you're teaching every day, right?
Yeah, different terms, right? But I thought I would teach. I ended up running a family business with my father-in-law for about 8 years, and until we didn't anymore. We decided to join a different venture, my husband and I. And I was actually recommended to AIL by a friend of mine, a lady who used to do some of the accounting for the business that we ran. And I went in for an interview. I thought, wow, determine my own income, still be able to pick my son up from school, and it sounded too good to be true, and just hearing Justin and Trace and them, how quickly they've been able to rise the ranks, that's awesome. I mean, that's leadership for you, you know? They grow, intentionally, and so I really don't feel that it's a challenge to be in El Paso and Destin and Dunbar being in Phoenix and you guys and David, because they're just a phone call away, for the most part, and I just can't say enough about the leadership, really. It's because of them, really, that we're all able to manifest what we want out of this, so.
When so being a business owner and coming from that mindset, there's obviously a reason that you were going into ownership in the first place, right? Did you want to be in control of your time and control of your income?
Yeah, no,
What about business ownership really stood out to you?
I think that's all I knew, to be
Yeah.
honest. I never really worked. I worked at the mall for a little bit while I was going to school. But no, I was always working for the family, my family, my husband's family, and I knew that I always wanted to be my own business owner at some point. So that's the rest is history, I guess.
Well, and transitioning over to American Income, what was the appeal for you? Because after 8 years, that's a long stretch of time, right? And so after that came to an end, what was the appeal to now jump into American Income and go, full bore at this?
Well, I mean, the concept of running your own business, for yourself but not by yourself.
Yeah.
That's really what stood out to me the most, and I knew that if there was obviously leaders in El Paso, and I saw them doing it, and I knew that I could do it too, and I wanted to.
Yeah.
And really, there's really nothing more that I've ever wanted than to build a business of my own for my son. Ever since I had my son.
And how old is your son?
He just turned 12.
He just turned 12, and so he's gotten to see your journey as well, and to be able to pass that to him, is that something that's very important to you and your husband?
For sure. Absolutely.
Good.
It's the most important.
Jenny, like I said, we're so excited about everything that you have going on in El Paso, and we're going to come back. I know there's some stuff that you want to talk about here soon, so we're going to come back to that here shortly, but Larry Potluck, Mr. Consistency. If you've all been watching the podcast the last 4, 5, 6 weeks, you've seen Larry's name atop the leaderboards, and so we are so happy to have him out here because he's in Chicago, so not exactly close to Phoenix, and so I got the privilege of spending about 3-4 months with Larry when I was out in Chicago last year and getting to know him, and so just to know your story a little bit and where you started, but we're proud of you and everything that you got going on, because consistency is key. I think we've all had a week or two where we've shot up the charts, right?
Yeah.
But to see Larry at the very top of the consistency score. Now, Jessie has come for the number 1 spot the last couple of weeks, so I know you have something to say to that, but to see you come in and week out, collect a bunch of referrals, sit a bunch of referrals, double-digit referrals every week, and then, write, 4,000 to 6,000 a week at a minimum, as just like, okay, what's Larry going to do this week? He's going to collect 80 referrals, he's going to do double-digit sits, and he's going to write 4,000 to 6,000. To be known as that is special. But if you will, please tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and please speak up because of the noise. But what's your story, Larry? What were you doing prior to AIL?
Prior to AIL, I was in college. I went to the University of Illinois in Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm not really good at school. Never was in high school or before that. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I just went to school because I was told that's what I have to do to be successful. So I was an accounting major, not really doing much with it. And one of my buddies, he actually started his own company in social media marketing. So he kind of recruited me into that to do sales with him. And, no leads, no nothing, just go into the business and try to sell it.
Business, yeah.
Exactly. And it was difficult, I actually worked with someone from our office named Tyler.
Yeah.
We went in a blizzard door to door across this this mall, and we got nothing. And I didn't see it really going anywhere, but kind of that experience, I knew I wanted to go into business for myself. I didn't want to work for someone. I wanted to work for myself. So kind of trying to stick with that though. I wasn't really going anywhere with it, and someone from my fraternity towards the end of the school year told me about this opportunity. So I went to check it out, and that's where I met Eugene. And sitting through group, it instantly changed my perspective on everything. How easy it is to be able to be in business for yourself and create success by just putting the work in and having help and guidance along with it. So I started in May of 2018, and since then, that's all I've been doing, and it's been getting good results.
So you said that you went in a blizzard door to door
Yep.
at a mall, right?
Kind of like a
And
strip mall.
you had no success from that.
Zero.
And then you decided that you wanted to be in business for yourself.
Yeah, I like the challenge.
Okay, I was going to say, so Larry, where do you connect the dots to having
I
no
like the
success in a
challenge.
blizzard to then wanting to be in business for yourself? What clicked at that moment for you that you understood that you wanted that?
Well, I mean, that's not something you're going to run into every day in the business world, so I like
Correct.
different. I like something new every day.
Yeah.
However, I'd like to get results with something every day, and not just the same repetitive, no, we're not interested.
Correct.
So this being something new every day and getting new results and meeting new people and creating relationships, it's definitely somewhere where I want to be the rest of my life.
Yeah. Well, it's powerful because it's back to what we talked about earlier, certainty, right? A made-up mind is very, very powerful, and so now that you're acting in certainty, it's no coincidence what you're doing, right? Every week atop the leaderboards, first, second place every single week. You can pretty much count on Larry's name being up top, Mr. Consistency himself. So thank you very much, Larry. We're excited to see where this goes. We know it's just the beginning for you. With that, Jenny, you talked about listening to your mentors and really focusing on your strengths. What has been so critical for you of being able to just plug into your mentorship and then really focus on your strengths that's led to your success?
I think just honestly watching the leadership that we have and how they grow continually, intentionally, so that we can watch and do what they do. I mean, that for me, I really wish that it hadn't taken me so long. I wish I'd been RGA like Justin in 2 years, because that's really what's out there. But I think just watching them develop and how there is no plateau, there's no top of the mountain. They just keep going and going, and so there's so much work to do, but it's exciting because you're seeing somebody do it, and really that the leadership, that's just time salvaged,
Yeah.
for the new leadership coming in. So
Absolutely.
that's exciting for me. I mean, I want to help as many people as I can, just like Vina Camp and Dunbar and
Yeah.
and being as systematic as possible. I mean, it's awesome. So.
Well, and so you touched on something. I think this could not be said enough. You said intentionally, right? Leadership growing intentionally. So what have you seen, though? Is it through reading more? Is it through audios? Is it through development courses, seminars? What have you seen that your leadership's been really good at that they've used to develop themselves intentionally?
Well, first of all, the culture,
Okay.
the relationships that they strive to have with their people, to help them. That's really more than anything. There's a ton of books and great messages out there, right? But actually being that and
Yeah.
watching it and wanting to be that too, I mean, that's really what it's all about, I think, now. I mean,
Absolutely.
insurance is one thing. That's our tool to get as great as we can be. And I mean, sky's the limit, really. It's not, it sounds cliche, right? But that's really why we're here.
We're in a
because-
beautiful business. It's based on people and relationships and how far we go,
For sure.
right? I mean, insurance is what we do, but we're in the people business, right?
sure.
And so that's great. So, thank you, Jenny. Justin, you talked a lot about, being in business, with the family and all of that, but, moving to Dallas for the opportunity, I'm sure you had a lot of different emotions going on at that time of, it became a conversation and you're like, okay, let's do it. And obviously with your running mate and Trace, but how has your mindset shifted now that you guys went to open up Dallas as a territory? How did that ownership change for you? Because you're a part of the dream team in Tempe.
Yeah.
You guys open up a beautiful brand new office and you're cranking like it's never been
whole 9 yards.
cranked before. And yeah, you furnish your office. It's beautiful, by the way. But then now you get this Dallas opportunity. And now it's kind of your baby for you and Trace and the rest of the crew out there in Dallas. So what is your ownership mindset? Like, how has that shifted at all?
That's a good question. There's been a big shift. So it comes with sacrifice, I think.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of ownership from the start, because I knew I had to if I was going to make this work.
Yeah.
Right. However, Dallas, and we had seen Dallas coming. Like, that was the vision. However, it wasn't supposed to happen as quick as it did. So like, I kind of gave my girlfriend a heads up, and my family, that potentially there could be moves coming. And when it just comes like overnight like that, and I literally have to bring my phone on the bench for a hockey game that I'm playing, men's hockey, to hear what's going to happen. And I get word that Dallas is a go. I mean, just knowing that when you commit to that it's happening, I think the sacrifice powers a lot of ownership. So when we moved, my girlfriend, she's not able to move right away. My girlfriend, so she's actually moving out in May. We're excited about that.
Good. Yes.
And my family. I'm one of 4 kids. I'm the oldest. My parents, they're all in Arizona. So Arizona's really all I knew.
Yeah.
And when I made that commitment, for the agency to make a difference, to expand, and it's so much bigger than me. Because if I was thinking about me, I would have stayed where I was comfortable, right? I would have continued with my day to day, but I knew that Trace and I making that move, it was going to expand the agency. It was going to give an open door to more people at the agency to move with us. It was more than just me, and being there and having the calls with Dustin all the time, and just having to make it work.
Yeah.
Right?
No other option.
You leave your family behind. You move there and commit to leading the office, and you have to make it happen. And I learned in construction, just to go back on that, on stories there, that I couldn't call my stepdad all the time when I was on a job because he didn't know what the heck was going on. He said, make the decision. You run the job. Right? He's not there. So it's the same thing in Dallas, You got to make the decision. When you're in a home, you have to make the decision. It's your business. And when you just take full ownership for everything and everything's your fault, when everything's your fault, I think that everything takes another level. There's obviously levels to growth and leadership, and there's levels in business, and things always get tough before you have a breakthrough. They sometimes get really tough, but that breakthrough's coming. And when you keep with the personal development, you keep all that stuff, just positive reinforcement going on, I think it really powers you to get to that next level, and everything starts with ownership when you're pushing through those barriers. So I hope I answered your question.
No, absolutely. And you said so much right there. I hope you guys can all hear this loud and clear, because that there was so much there. So Justin, thank you for that. But you said something. If it was about me, I would have stayed put.
Yeah.
Can you think about our leader, if he would have made that decision 16 years ago, if it was just about him and not all of the territories that he would have helped open up for Altig, and to allow him to be here, to all the lives that he's impacted, and the people that whether it be personally, professionally, spiritually, financially, all the lives that he's changed. So to think about how you guys are just getting started and what that means, but it just reminds me of his story ultimately, of if it was about just Dustin, he never would have moved 16, 15 times or whatever it is, but it's always been about everybody else, and so that's so powerful. So Justin, thank you for that. That was a huge segment. So Trace, you talked about manifesting Dallas when you guys were still in the Phoenix office. The Tempe office hadn't even opened up yet, and Dallas just sounded good, like downtown Dallas. Man, I can't wait to go. Like, why was Dallas? And again, going back to Dustin, what has he always taught us? Talk about it. Put it out there. Whatever you talk about, you can make happen, right? And so you guys were talking about Dallas back in, 2017?
Yep.
Why? Why was Dallas it?
Honestly, that's a really, really good question. Because I had never been to Dallas. Justin had never been to Dallas. Dallas just seemed pretty cool, I guess.
Okay.
We didn't even know it was really a possibility to take over a territory. We kind of did. We're we're brand new in the business. You're we want to have a territory of our own. We want to be the guys. We want to be the people.
Yeah.
To start impacting lives. And we're let's take over Dallas, Texas. That'd be really awesome. I think someone maybe showed us a picture of what the city looked like.
I want to go
I
there.
think it was your roommate.
Maybe at the time, yeah.
Yeah, his family lived there, and he threw up a cool picture from the bridge.
Yeah, and we're wow, that's pretty awesome. We should take over Dallas, Texas. There's a bunch of people out there who need our help. And so that was even before Tempe. And then, Tempe happened. Already, we're we're moving down the block, we're opening up our own office. We're gonna help do that.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, like we're still just acting as if, like we're like Dallas, 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 and we act as if to like where we're already running Dallas, Texas, and even though it's not us. And then when we finally get that call, like it all happened so quick because Justin had to go to a hockey game, like you said. Like he literally, I was like, I'll let you know like what happens, like if like Dallas is real or not. And he's like literally like sitting on the bench like with his phone. I'm like texting him. I was like, yo, so we're moving to Dallas. I was like, you down? I go, we've been talking about it for like a year. Like, are you down? He goes, yeah, let's do it. And so, like 3 weeks go by, like it's ours. 3 weeks later, I fly to Dallas to literally look at apartments for 2 days. Justin doesn't even come. I go look at apartments. He sees stuff through like video.
Yeah.
And like we found one. Justin doesn't even really knows what it looks like. Like he sees like the kitchen and the fridge, like the living room.
That's
he's
all
like,
he needed?
Yeah, he's like, that's a type view. Like, yeah, let's get that one. And so like we moved to Dallas in 3 weeks. Like.
So Justin, you'd never seen it. Trace, you were out there for a day or two.
Yeah.
And that's it?
That's it. And then, and then I'm coming back on the plane that night, and the realtor that we've been dealing with, like for the apartment building, he's like, oh yeah, by the way, you guys have to sign tonight if you guys want the deal we gave you this apartment. I was like, so I'm hopping on a plane, and I was like, Justin, we have to sign tonight. You have to do all this stuff like while I'm flying home. And it's like, you have to sign before midnight. I'm hopping on a plane at like 11:15 at night.
So no midnight, yeah.
Yeah, and like, so Justin does it all. Like I have to I'm the middleman between it all, like giving him all the forms, like via email, via text. I was like, here's his number, and like he gets it all done before midnight. I don't even know if he gets done. I'm on a plane, like hoping it gets done. Then it all gets done, and then like 3 weeks later we move. It's right in the middle of production month. I'm actually homeless for the entire month because my license in Texas isn't active yet. So I'm in New Mexico, like living out of an Airbnb, like writing production, and then finally moving to Dallas like by the end of October while Justin's holding it down, like moving all of our apartments, like both of our apartments, in a U-Haul. And it was definitely a time to be alive, that's for sure.
We were approved on that apartment like 4 days before we moved. Like we had already locked down the U-Haul, and we didn't even know that we had the apartment yet.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there, when you talk about having a plan in place and everything, all T's crossed and I's dotted, that does not sound like what you guys had going on.
No, we just knew we had to make it happen.
Correct.
Like the one thing, like if it was one thing, like one really, really important thing that I heard Dustin talk about, moving 16 times, it was if someone ever asks you to take over territory, just say yes and ask questions later. And that's exactly like my reflex. I was like, we just have to say yes, and we're going to figure it out and make it happen.
And you guys did it. And obviously look at what is coming from that with Zach and Alexi and Devin and the crew out that you guys have developed out there. And you're just getting started. You're just scratching the surface. So we're so excited to see that.
Shout out to them too.
Yeah, and we're really grateful that they also made the leap. Zach, Alexi, Devin, Demi. They're the ones who trusted us, which is really humbling because they didn't know what was really going on. They're just like, we're gonna come to Dallas because that's what we're gonna do. Like, there's a lot of lives to impact. Like Trace and Justin, they know what's going on. Like they're gonna trust us. So we're incredibly grateful that they made the leap with us. To open up that office with us.
Well, we know why. I mean, they've got great leadership to follow, and so and this is just the beginning. And Larry, to wrap up with, you, Larry, we're going to talk about leading from the front. That's something that you've demonstrated over and over again. Again, being consistent at the top of the leaderboards every week with referrals collected, referral presentations, and referral sales. So, what have you learned since you said May of last year? Because your story, you didn't come out Mr. Consistency, right?
I did not,
so
no.
what have you learned over the last 8-10 months about really leading from the front and why that's so powerful?
Well, going back to what Jenny said, is listening to your mentors. That's all I was told to do. Gather referrals, collect them, go see them because it works.
Yeah.
When I first started, I was just very lead dependent, and I would run out of leads. I'd say I need new leads, or this territory is bad. Can I switch territories? And then when we had that huge explosion in Chicago in January, Dustin came out and we had a conversation. He told me, he's like, when do you want to make a difference? When do you want to start making some real money? And that just resonated with me, and especially though these new people here, I wanted to show them what was possible. So starting a new territory, just because I finished training everyone in my old territory. That's where they're all from, so I just left it with them. And I made a promise to myself that this is going to be different this time. So saw the first couple leads that I booked, and then instantly was like 10 referrals in each home were collected. And then this time, rather than just letting them sit there, let me actually call them and book them. Oh, hey, it works. So booking them, going to see them, they know exactly what I'm there for. They saw the text, they talked to their family or their friends.
Correct.
And, you know, the turnaround was just almost instant.
Yeah.
And I had a good week, then I had another good week, and then another, and another, and another. And just from there on out, I just knew that I want to be in referrals all time and every time, and that's what everyone else needs to see, and that's what everyone else needs to do.
So it's not about the leads and the resources being bad. Was it your mindset at the beginning of being so dependent on that, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And now that you've seen the light, so to speak, right, and how much success you can have with referrals, what's your mindset now going forward? Because you talk about, you know, one good week and piggybacking it with another good week, and now you had a great month, and now Mr. Consistency has been born, and now, you know, so what's your mindset moving forward?
Keep it up and just do better than you can. You know, do better than the week before. Help your people as well. How I kind of run it is, I want to go hard at it the first couple days of the week so I can get myself a good paycheck. Because if my people need help, then I'm going to go with my people and help them make sure that they're achieving their goals as well.
Absolutely. And Jenny, to close us out, any last thoughts for you, and what are your goals coming up, and what can we expect from Jenny and the El Paso crew out there?
Well, not really so much from me, but all of the, we've got a lot of new people coming into the agency who we really want to help and grow and move and follow Justin and Trace and do these amazing things with new offices, really. I think just having the right attitude, I think everybody could probably agree with that. When we feel like things are really hard, it's not, it's just, overcoming the feeling of it being hard, really, and I think that that's really possible. I think just having the right attitude, basically, is if we're giving tips.
Well, and like you said earlier,
I don't think I answered your question, Paul.
Well, no, but you did. But like you said, focus on your strengths as well.
Right.
And really get good at the things that you're very good at.
And not even so. I think more not focus on your weaknesses, but recognize them, be aware, be honest with yourself, and also reach out to your mentors. Because they've got a lot going on too, and they've got as a mentee, you should be trying to cultivate that relationship too. So that's another little tip.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Jenny. Trace, any last words?
Yeah, if I could add one thing, there's just a reason that everything correlates, I think, between any of us. There's a reason why Larry went from 0 to 100, Mr. Consistency, to being 1 and 2 every single week, and it's, there's a reason why, Justin went from 0 to MGA in, 60 days to RGA, and there's a reason, why Jenny runs the El Paso office, and I think it's because when you want something you haven't gotten, you have to do things you've never done. Yeah. Because just like when Larry says, he's lead dependent. He wanted to make a difference. He wanted to do something new. He wanted to, make more money, impact more lives. He decided to call his referrals. He decided to collect referrals. You have to do something you've never done to get stuff you haven't gotten. Yeah. And I think it all ties into just acting as if. You have to act as if you are that person, because it's going to force you to level up. It's going to force you to be someone you might not even be ready to be, but you're going to do it. You're going to find a way to make it happen, and that's how we're going to, take this whole thing to 100 million. That's how we're going to take over, every territory possible.
Absolutely.
And it's just acting as if, just doing things we're not ready to do. That's going to force us to be people we're not ready to be.
That $100 million vision, absolutely, Trace. Thank you. Justin, anything you want to end on?
Yeah, I just want to end on how fun this business is.
Look at where we're at.
This business is awesome. I remember switching from sitting in a construction job trailer to going around town with David with the windows down, listening to music in between appointments. Yeah. This business can be so much fun, and I'm grateful to be here with everyone and have found this company. We got an amazing culture. We got an amazing leadership team. We have amazing trainers, and I think this agency is going to be a force to be reckoned with moving forward.
I couldn't agree more, and I just want to say thank you all from our point as leadership, you know, I feel very confident. I know I can speak for Dustin on this. If this is just a small microcosm of what it's going to look like from the development of the agency, we are blessed and honored to be in business with all of you, and so excited about what's to come, because you know what's exciting about a year from now when we're sitting on this beach? We're going to have new people here that we don't need, that maybe haven't even been hired yet.
Yeah.
That or they're going through the May through December for Larry, right? They're trying to figure it out, and Mr. Consistency #2 hasn't even been developed yet, right? So that's what's so powerful about where we are at this stage, on our way to 100 million. So to all of you out there, you know, hang tight, right? Like Dustin always says, don't mess it up, don't leave, because for all of us here, we've all experienced something along the lines of what you're going through. So like Jenny said, reach out to your mentors, call them. They've been through it at some point in time, I'm sure. And if they haven't, they can call someone who has. And so we're just honored, we're blessed to be here in the beautiful setting of Cabo with you all today. We hope that this is helping you all with what you guys are going through out there in the field. And so if it wasn't for you guys in the field, we wouldn't be able to do this for you today. And so we appreciate everything that you guys have going on out there. But let's go out there and let's finish on a strong first quarter, and let's go make this second quarter the best quarter we've ever had in AO Vini Camp history. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Awesome.